Period dramas aren't supposed to be dangerous. They're supposed to be polite, soothing, full of tea and soft piano music. But that's the lie. The truth, some of the best ones are brutal, unflinching, and forgotten. The kind that slip past the masterpiece theater filter and leave you rattled in the best way. So, how many of these hidden gems have you missed? Don't worry, what's coming will prove you've only scratched the surface. The Devil's Whore, 2008. When people think period dramas, they imagine lace dresses and candlelight. This one kicks the door down with muskets and blood. Set during the English Civil War, The Devil's Whore doesn't waste time on cozy dinners. It's about a country tearing itself apart and a woman trying not to be destroyed with it. Andrea Riseborough plays Angelica, a woman whose life gets twisted by politics, betrayal, and survival in a world where everyone is forced to pick a side. This isn't a background history lesson type of drama. It's visceral. You've got Oliver Cromwell showing up, played by Dominic West, with that dangerous mix of righteousness and menace. Michael Fassbender, before Hollywood made him a household name, plays Edward Sexby, a soldier whose loyalty comes at a cost. The whole thing feels raw, urgent, and far less sanitized than what you usually get from British television about this era. What makes it stand out is how personal it feels. Instead of sweeping military strategy, it narrows in on how ordinary people got pulled into chaos they couldn't control. Angelica isn't a saint. She's flawed, scared, brave, sometimes reckless. But she feels real in a way most period drama heroines don't. It's messy, it's violent, and it's full of moral gray areas. That's why it works. The English Civil War isn't a setting you see much on TV, and this show proves why it deserves more attention. Forget bonnets and ballroom chatter. This is period drama as a knife fight. Aristocrats, 1999. If you thought wealthy aristocrats meant an easy life, Aristocrats will cure you of that fast. This 4-part miniseries follows the Lennox sisters, 4 daughters of the Duke of Richmond in the 18th century, who find out that being born rich is no shield from scandal, politics, or heartbreak. Think Downton Abbey, but with higher stakes and much sharper edges. The sisters, played by Geraldine Somerville, Jodie May, Anne-Marie Duff, and Sophia Myles, each have their own arc, from arranged marriages that turn sour to political intrigue that spirals out of control. What makes this series gripping is that it's all based on real history. These were actual women navigating a society that demanded loyalty, obedience, and a perfect image, all while their private lives were falling apart. The production doesn't skimp on detail. Costumes and sets feel lived in, not like they were borrowed from a costume warehouse. The political backdrops, parliament, courts, country estates, show how public duty and private misery collided. And because the series stretches over decades, you watch the characters age, lose innocence, and gain hard edges as their world changes. It's not sentimental. It doesn't clean up the mess. One sister gets stuck with a philandering husband. Another finds herself sidelined for being outspoken, and all of them are trapped by rules written by men. That blunt honesty makes Aristocrats feel modern, even though it's set centuries ago. If you're tired of the same Austen recycling, Aristocrats is a bracing reminder that polite society was often anything but. North and South, 1975. Most people know North and South from the 2004 adaptation with Richard Armitage brooding in the shadows. But 2 decades earlier, the BBC quietly delivered a version that's grittier, sharper, and closer to Elizabeth Gaskell's novel. The 1975 North and South isn't about smoldering glances. It's about class warfare dressed in bonnets and factory smoke. Rosalie Shanks stars as Margaret Hale, the vicar's daughter uprooted from the English countryside and dropped into the harsh world of northern industry. Patrick Stewart, yes, Captain Picard before Star Trek, plays John Thornton, the mill owner who represents everything she resents. Their relationship simmers, but it's built on ideological battles, not candlelit longing, and that makes it fascinating. This adaptation takes its time. Over 4 episodes, it digs into the strike movement, poverty, and the cultural clash between genteel Southern ideals and the brutal realities of Northern factories. Unlike the 2004 version, which leaned into romance, this one focuses more on the social upheaval that drives the story. You feel the weight of Gaskell's critique of industrial Britain. It's not glossy. The sets look cramped, the factories grimy, and the tension between workers and owners feels alive. Watching it today, it has a rawness that modern period dramas often avoid. And Stuart Thornton, less heartthrob, more industrial shark. His performance gives the character bite instead of polish. For anyone who thinks the 2004 version is definitive, this one's worth hunting down. It reminds you that North and South was never just a love story, it was a social commentary with teeth. Banished 2015. If you want cozy cottages and candlelit romance, stay far away. Banished is about survival in one of the harshest, least forgiving settings, 18th century Australia. British convicts dumped half a world away, trying to build lives in a place designed to crush them. It only ran for one season, but what it packed in those 7 episodes leaves a lasting mark. Jimmy McGovern, the writer behind some of Britain's grittiest dramas, created this, and you can tell. The tone is raw. The convicts aren't treated as noble underdogs. They're thieves, fighters, and opportunists. But they're also human, desperate, and trapped in a brutal system that offers no way back. Joseph Milson plays Governor Philip, who wants to keep order without losing his mind. Russell Tovey shows up as a convict with a chip on his shoulder, bringing that twitchy energy he does so well. And Mayanna Buring adds a sharp edge as a woman trying to carve out survival among men who think women are bargaining chips. What Banished nails is the sense of claustrophobia. The colony feels cut off from the world, harsh landscape, endless sea, no escape. Every argument could explode into violence, every relationship is warped by power. Even the smallest decision, who eats, who doesn't, carries life or death stakes. The show didn't get renewed, which is a crime in itself, but maybe that's what makes it so haunting. Banished is a reminder that period drama doesn't have to mean polished silverware. Sometimes it means mud, hunger, and the terrifying realization that home is never coming back. South Riding 2011. Here's one you probably missed, and that's a shame. South Riding, based on Winifred Holtby's 1936 novel, is a sweeping story of post-World War I Yorkshire. It has everything: politics, love, scandal, and a community still nursing the wounds of a war that never really ended. Anna Maxwell Martin plays Sarah Burton, a determined headmistress who takes a job at a girls' school in the South Riding district. She's fiery, idealistic, and not the least bit interested in playing by the quiet rules of small-town respectability. Enter Robert Carn, played by David Morrissey, a brooding local landowner weighed down by secrets. Their collision is inevitable, but it's only part of the story. What makes South Riding stand out is its scale. This isn't just about 2 leads circling each other. It's about a whole community caught between tradition and change. Councils debating budgets, farmers struggling with debts, women fighting for education and independence. The show makes politics as gripping as romance, which is no small feat. The production values are lush: rolling Yorkshire fields, crumbling estates, classrooms filled with chalk dust, but it never tips into fantasy. Everything feels grounded, urgent, lived in. And Martin's performance is the anchor. She brings such conviction to Sarah that you root for her even when the odds are stacked. South Riding deserved more attention than it got. It's one of those dramas that makes you feel the weight of history pressing down on ordinary lives, while still giving you characters worth cheering for. And isn't that what the best period dramas do? Berkeley Square, 1998. At first glance, Berkeley Square looks like a cozy Edwardian drama: soft lighting, elegant houses, polite society. But underneath the corsets and fine china, it's all about class, survival, and the quiet wars waged in nursery rooms. The series follows 3 young nannies in 1902 London, each working for a different household, and it wastes no time showing how their lives are shaped by secrets and sacrifices. Victoria, played by Victoria Smurfit, is ambitious and refuses to accept her lot. Maddie, portrayed by Tabitha Waite, is earnest and hopeful, clinging to ideals even when reality crushes them. And Hannah, played by Rosemary Leach, is haunted by her past. Their employers are wealthy, self-absorbed, and often blind to the very people raising their children. The contrast between the gilded halls above stairs and the emotional weight below is the heart of the drama. Berkeley Square doesn't romanticize Edwardian life. Babies cry, employers gossip, scandals lurk in every corner, and love rarely comes without a price. It's Downton Abbey turned inside out, where the focus isn't on aristocratic dinners, but on the women holding everything together. Though it only ran for one season, the show captured something rare: the voices of women who were neither aristocrats nor rebels, but ordinary workers trying to carve meaning from constrained lives. That honesty makes it resonate decades later. If you think period drama is only about dukes and debutantes, Berkeley Square proves the nursery could be just as ruthless as the ballroom. Wives and Daughters, 1971. Most fans of period drama know the 1999 adaptation of Elizabeth Gaskell's Wives and Daughters. But before that, the BBC quietly released a 1971 version that deserves just as much attention. It's less polished, more restrained, but closer in spirit to Gaskell's sharp observations of social life. The story follows Molly Gibson, the doctor's daughter, who becomes entangled with her new stepmother and stepsister. That setup sounds tame, but Gaskell turns it into a dissection of class, gossip, and family politics. This earlier version doesn't try to romanticize the story. It keeps the focus on the emotional honesty of Molly's journey. The cast gives it grit. Penelope Wilton, in one of her early roles, plays Molly with intelligence and quiet strength. The supporting characters, vain stepmothers, ambitious suitors, scheming families, aren't caricatures, but recognizably human, often painfully so. Visually, it's not flashy. The sets look modest, the lighting plain. But that simplicity helps. Instead of being distracted by pretty costumes, you pay attention to the characters' choices, which is exactly what Gaskell intended. Because Gaskell died before finishing the novel, the ending has always been tricky. The 1971 series handles it with understated grace, avoiding melodrama while still giving Molly's arc a sense of resolution. This version doesn't get enough love. If you want Wives and Daughters without the sugarcoating, this is the one. It's proof that sometimes less glamour means more truth. Island at War 2004. Not many dramas tackle the German occupation of Britain's Channel Islands during World War II. Island at War does, and it's all the stronger for it. Set on the fictional island of St. Gregory, it follows ordinary families forced to live under German rule, where every choice could mean collaboration, resistance, or betrayal. The series introduces three families: the affluent Doors, the working-class Mayheys, and the struggling Jonases. When the Germans arrive, their lives are ripped apart. Some adapt, some resist, and some play both sides. That moral ambiguity, what do you do when survival and loyalty collide, drives the story. The Germans aren't cartoon villains either. Some are cruel, others conflicted. That complexity makes the tension sharper. You're never sure who can be trusted, and even acts of kindness feel laced with danger. Visually, Island at War is stunning. Shot on the Isle of Man, it captures windswept coasts, quiet villages, and the eerie calm of an island under occupation. The contrast between beautiful scenery and brutal reality gives it an unsettling edge. Critics were mixed when it aired, partly because it dared to show shades of gray in wartime storytelling. But that's exactly what makes it powerful. It avoids easy heroes and villains, choosing instead to show how ordinary people navigated impossible choices. Island at War proves period drama doesn't need corsets to be gripping. Sometimes all it takes is a tiny island, a foreign flag, and the question, what would you do? So, there you have it. 15 period dramas that prove history isn't just lace and candlelight. From convict colonies to collapsing aristocrats, from Channel Islands under siege to fashion houses fighting for survival, these shows dig into the corners most people ignore. Which of these hidden gems will you hunt down first? Drop your pick in the comments, hit subscribe if you love discoveries like this, and remember, sometimes the past is stranger than fiction.